everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, for those of you who don't know me, and today we are going to talk about a wonderful, fascinating subject on house numerology. Every house, building, office, any building that has a number attached to it has a secret personality. It has a secret energy that you can look into, and this is a really fun thing to know so that you can look at your house's energy, your friends' houses, your former houses that you used to live in, or even apartments, anything, and see if the energies align with the personality of that number. So let's dive right into it. So let's learn how to calculate your house number. So let's say you live in house number 347.9. So we're going to add up 3 and 4, which is 7, 7 and 9, which is 16. Then we're going to add 16 and 7, which is 17, 18, 19, 20, 23. I'm not good at math at all, if you can't tell. And then we're going to add up these final digits, leading us to a number 5 household. And that is your final number. Now, what if you live in an apartment or some type of condo building and your address number is like 34B, for example? So let's say it's 34B. We are still adding up the 3 and the 4, which makes it 7. But what about the B? So in numerology, we have the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F. These all correlate to a number, every letter. So A would be 1, B would be 2, C would be 3, and so on. And then you do that until 9. So let's just keep going. 5, 6, A, B, C, D, E, F, G would be 7, H, I would be 8, 9, and then it starts repeating. So J would be 1 again. Does that make sense? I'll leave a chart in the description and the comment section for the number calculation thingy. But since 34B, B is a 2, so this would be 2. So 7 plus 2, 7, 8, 9. This is a 9 household. So if you lived in apartment 1D, you would have D is what? 4. So that would be 4. This is 1. We add them up. You live in a 5 household. If you have multiple numbers in your address, say you live in an apartment complex and the address of the apartment complex is like 8000 Red Street, but your apartment itself is apartment CF or whatever, use the number of your apartment itself, so the CF number, to calculate your apartment's numerological value, okay? You can also do the apartment complex itself, but that would be like the spirit of the apartment complex itself. So say it's like 8000, that's the number for the complex itself. This would be an 8 complex, meaning there's probably a lot of people there who are into business and career, and they commute to work from that apartment. But if your apartment itself is like 3F and you calculated that, so that's 3 plus F, which is 6, that would be a 9 apartment. The energy of your apartment has all of the 9 attributes, which are like, we'll talk about that. So calculate this for yourself, for your home, for your friends' homes, for your neighbors' homes, for your childhood homes, and see if it correlates. Here are the descriptions of the houses. This is Laura from the future. I forgot to mention to you guys that if at the final stage of adding your numbers together you encounter a repeating number such as 11, 22, 33, 55, 44, whatever, keep that repeating digit, because that is a master number, and that actually is like really significant to be living in a house like that, okay? Or if, like, say you live in house number 11, keep that. That's just your number. You're a number 11 household. I will be going over the individual houses now, 1 through 9, 11, and 22. If you have a repeating number that I do not talk about, say you live in house number 555, check out the 5 video, the 5 portion of this video, and apply that to your house. You can also add up those 3 digits, 5, 5, and 5, which is 15, which is 6. So both the 5 and 6 numerology will apply to your house. And just keep in mind that if you have a repeating number house, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen there, okay? It's like the energies are amplified by a lot. So what does it mean if you live in a one home? This is a really fun home to live in if you are somebody who is looking for autonomy and freedom and just being your own individual self. So if you're coming out of a codependent relationship, for example, or if you're just moving out on your own out of your parents' house, or if you come from a history of an abusive relationship or just kind of losing yourself in relationships and friendships, this is the perfect house to live in because it really brings out your own independent qualities. People who live in a one home with a group, so if there's multiple people living in this home or building, they may all have their own like little separate lives going on, you know? So, you know, maybe one person's in their bedroom and they like to read a lot. Maybe another person, you know, just everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone has their own little lives. It's a really great home to enhance your leadership. It's a great home to have if you're self-employed. It just really, the people who live in a one home, they feel like they're on their own path in life. They're really connected to their own individual personalities and their missions. And so it's just a really great home to live in if you are establishing your independence. When I think of one homes, I think of kind of like the bachelor pad, you know, just a single guy or gal living there. You know, they have their own career, they have their own friends, they have their own little lives. You know, they're not settling down anytime soon. They're just really connecting with themselves and discovering who they are and really just living their own path and really enhancing their self-confidence, their self-esteem, their drive. So it's a really great home for all of those things. Now with every house number, we are going to have some challenges and some issues, okay? So let's talk about it. When living in a number one house, it may not be the best home if you're really trying to strengthen a partnership or strengthen your family life, like interpersonal connections. It's not that interpersonal connections are bad in a one home, it's just that this home's all about individuality and just being on your own path in life, really establishing your self. So if you're really prone to loneliness and just kind of being too much on your own, this might be a bad house for you to live in. If you feel like you're lacking a lot of supportive friends and family members in your life, if you kind of feel isolated, this one house can actually contribute to that feeling. So that might be a challenge that you come up with here. Something I would recommend to everybody living in a one home is to really decorate the home so that it's inviting and welcoming of other people. So for example, if you have any art on the walls, have it depict more than one person, you know, or more than one animal or more than one flower, kind of like group essence art. If you have a dining room or a living room, make sure there's space for people there. You know, don't be the type of house that only has like one plate and one cup for yourself, you know. Make your home more welcoming for guests and invite guests over frequently to kind of bring that energy up. If you're single and living in a one home, I highly recommend doing some feng shui to change the energy to make it more welcoming to a partner. So for example, in your bedroom, make sure that your bed has access on both sides. Make sure you have one drawer empty for guests who are staying over. Make sure you have some, you know, welcoming slippers or some extra toiletries just in case a special guest comes over. You know what I mean? Make it more welcoming for a new partner to enter your life, into your home, if that's what you're looking for. But overall, a one house is really great. It really brings out the creativity, the innovation, the leadership, the confidence, the individuality, the autonomy, and just really connects you back in with yourself. And I feel like sometimes some people are prone to losing touch with themselves, getting lost in their relationships, in their family, in their duties, their work, their obligation. And so it's really cool to just step back into your own individuality and see what that's all about. So that's a great home for that. This is also a really great home if you need some roommates and you don't really want to be overly involved with the roommates' energies, you know, you don't want to be like best friends with your roommate. You kind of just want everyone to do their own thing and get along nicely. I think a one home is really great for that. So let's talk about a two home. 2 is the number of interpersonal relationships working together, and it's just a really great home for cozy vibes, pictures and photographs all over the walls, just room for people to just really feel nice and warm and welcome and open. This is a home that I feel like has a lot of cozy nooks for people to connect with each other, lots of deep, open-hearted conversations probably happen in a 2 home, and people might go there to feel heard, to feel seen. Lots of healing conversations tend to happen in a 2 home or a building, so it's really interesting. There's also a sense of nostalgia when it comes to 2 energy. This is like Taurus energy, it's almost giving me. So there might be some like retro vinyl, there might be some antique furniture, there might be some, with taste, of course, not just junk laying all around in a 2 home, but like just a nice retro, vintage, cozy, nostalgic vibe about it. I don't know how to describe the energies I'm getting. It's just like a 2 home is a place for people to just really connect with their own inner worlds together and to really have some deep conversation. This is the perfect home for new couples. This is the perfect home for like 2 best friends that want to live together, interpersonal connections. There's also a lot of feelings involved with a 2 home, and so I think if you're not an emotional person, being in a 2 home is definitely going to bring out your more emotional side. This is a place for intimate gatherings, so if you bring some friends into a 2 home or even some family, expect to have some pretty deep conversations, some mood lighting, you know, looking in each other's eyes, that sort of thing. This is also a really great home for young families and just, you know, I'm like a young new love, coziness, getting to know each other vibe. With every home number comes some challenges, and living in a 2 home can really bring out the emotionally sensitive side in us. So emotions are really heightened in a 2 house. We might get a little bit overwhelmed more easily. And so sometimes when you live in a 2 home, it's really nice to go outside and get on a walk or do some exercise, get out into the sunlight, away from the energies of the home, because feelings and being overwhelmed tend to build up within the walls here. So when you go outside and you kind of just like, it like gets rid of all those emotions and you're feeling clear-minded, and you go back and you're like, okay, I'm reset again. So people who live in a 2 home might find themselves feeling a lot better when they're feeling overwhelmed or anxious or depressed just by going out on a walk, you know, getting away from the house. Not that the house is bad, it's a really good vibe and energy for therapists and writers and creatives, anyone who uses a lot of feeling in their work, or even who just want to feel a lot in their relationships and family life and life in general. Sometimes when it's overwhelming though, we have to get outside of the house and kind of clear that away. So that is one downside to living in this type of house. Also, 2 is the number of balance, so sometimes some issues would come up in a pre-existing relationship, or, you know, family to family or roommate to roommate. If one person is doing a lot more work than the other person, it's really going to be an issue here, and it's not something that you're going to feel like you can just kind of put up with and deal with. It's going to be something really heavy on your mind, because the energy of 2 wants things to be balanced. And so, for example, if you find yourself in a partnership where you both work full-time and one of you is doing all the cooking and cleaning and it's just not fair, it's really going to become a problem in this house, because the energy, the spirit, the personality of your house itself wants things to be balanced. So you're really going to be guided to work through that issue with your partner and, you know, create a bigger balance here. If you find yourself needing a lot of attention and validation and just feeling overwhelmed with these types of feelings and being overly sensitive, living in a 2 home, it's best to kind of just make sure that you have some type of daily routine where you're getting out and walking or exercising, okay? So keep that in mind. It might help a lot. Let's talk about a 3 home. 3 is the number of creative expansion. And so this house is really going to bring out the creative side in you. It's going to make you want to paint and decorate. It's going to make you want to take up hobbies and start a new career path, a new life path, design your own clothes. You know, I don't know. Everybody's creativity expresses itself differently, but this is a wonderful home if you are a creative of any kind, a musician, an artist, a designer, anything creative. This is a really great home for you. This is also a really good spot for social gatherings. You know, the number 3 house kind of gives me like hippie vibes. You know, everybody comes to my house and we party hard and we get nice creative energies flowing, a nice back and forth going. It's just a really fun house to live in. Lots of fun memories are probably going to be had at a 3 home. Very lighthearted when it comes to rules and structure. So children who grew up in a 3 home, they're really going to, most of the time at least, going to have their creative energy and ideas supported. One thing that might come a problem if there's children living here, though, is that they might lack a little bit of structure, so it might be a little bit messy. There might be, some loose or unclear rules. If you're living with roommates, it might be kind of unclear who gets what responsibilities. So it can get a little bit unfocused, a little bit unstructured in that way, but it's really great for honing in, developing, and supporting creativity and fun and experience and personality. So it is a really good home for children. It's also a really good home for single people too, families, anybody who likes talking to new people. 3 homes have this tendency to kind of bring together weird folk from all corners of the world and, just have like nice gatherings. So this is a good home to have like a barbecue in the backyard or invite all your friends over to party in the living room. If you have any kids, they might bring their friends over to your house, that type of energy. So with every house number comes its challenges, and the number 3 home is no exception. Some problems you might run into in this home is that unfocused energy. This might not be the best place if you are trying to have more structure, routine, and also with money. So this is a very creative house number, and so if you're trying to save money, pay off debts, this might not be the best house for you. If you have anything like ADHD, it might really be enhanced in a 3 house, so be mindful of that. If you're trying to have more like routines and order and cleanliness in your life, it might become a problem here, It's just unfocused. Very creative though. So again, great for creative energy, great for musicians, writers, anybody who needs to hone in on their creative craft and energies. It's just wonderful. And this is a really fun house to grow up in if you have children. It's a fun house, period. So if you have a lot of friends over, if you have children, if you're creative, this is the perfect home for you. But if you're trying to become more routinely, if you're trying to get some serious goals accomplished in your life, if you're trying to remain organized and clear-minded, might not be the best home for you. So now in stark contrast, we have the 4 home, and the 4 home is really stable, which is interesting because we come from the number 3, which is totally like creative and unstable. The number 4 home is the most stable you can get. So this is a really great home if you're into routines and orderliness, if you're trying to have some big financial goals, expand a business, focus on family, anything that requires long-term efforts and routines, and just, getting down to the nitty-gritty in life, the 4 home is perfect for you. This is also usually a good number to invest in real estate. So if you're thinking of investing in real estate, buying a property to rent out to others, a number 4 building might attract some longer-term tenants who are really good and orderly and clean and all that good stuff. So it might be good for that. If you're into finance or business, this is a good home for you. Anything kind of corporate or orderly is really great in a 4 home. If you are looking for a house to throw your roots down and just, be your forever home, the number 4 is also really great for that. This is a home that's going to offer a lot of stability. It's always going to be there. It's always going to provide. This is like the energy of long-term investments. And so it is a really great place to raise families. It's a great place to, make people feel stable. This is like the rock. I don't know why earth signs would be really great in a 4 home. That just came into my mind. If you're into astrology, earth signs are really into that stability and, throwing down roots and organization and routine, and this would be a great home for that. Even if you're somebody who travels a lot and likes an exciting life, a number 4 home is the place where you go home to. It's always the same. It's like warm, comforting because of how unchanging it is, The energy is just always there for you. So I think a lot of people would do really well in a 4 home. So the downside to living in a 4 home, because there's always challenges to each home and each number, is that 4, if you're raising children or if you grew up in a 4 home, it might sometimes be a little bit more strict. So if you grew up in a 4 home, your parents might have been a little strict on you, a little hard on you, or you had a lot of chores to do, things like that. Also, a number 4 home is not the best place to live if you're somebody who likes a lot of creativity, innovation, adventure, going out a lot. This isn't going to be a good home to support that. You know, the number 4 is really great for people who just want stability in their life. And I think this is a really great option if you're coming out of like an abusive relationship, if you just want something long term for your family, this would be great. But the number 4 is the most stable, and therefore it's kind of like the slowest moving of the numbers. So this wouldn't really be a great property if you're trying to experience a lot of change in life at this time, or if you're trying to, you know, just really experience life in a very thrilling way. The energy of your home might not support that, so just bear that in mind. Also, the number 4 is very hardworking, so some challenges that people might come up with in this home is, you know, turning into a bit of a workaholic or feeling bogged down by like a to-do list and, you know, home repairs and child responsibilities and things in your work life. They all kind of like pile up, and when you're in this home, it's like, you know, you create these crisp, clear to-do lists, and it's like, I gotta do this, 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 and this, and this. So it's important that if you live in a 4 home to be mindful of that and make time for play, make time for fun in your life as well. This would be a really good number for an office building. Also, in a 4 home, it's all about structure. So if there is anything that needs to be done to the physical home itself, like any repairs, if you need to replace the windows, work on the foundation, the roof, make sure it's done and don't skimp on it. Really go all out on it. I think it would be worth it. So let's talk about the 5 home. If you live in a 5 home, you probably have an exciting life. 5 is the number of change. So nothing ever stays the same for long in a 5 home. And this can reflect in the decor. You know, one day you might really want to have like a beach themed house, and then the next month you want to decorate everything differently again. There's always people coming to the 5 home. Even if you don't want anybody there, you notice that people kind of just show up. You know, people always are like, let me come over, like, let's have dinner at your place next, you know, it just attracts social energies. This is the party house, to be honest. So this would be a good number for like a sorority home or a fraternity home. It just really attracts some really fun parties. So if you like having people over, your place is the place to be. And most of your friends and family will probably think like you have the best house for throwing parties, the best house, like it just has like a very lively energy to it, because the number 5 is always looking for change and like boom, 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 let's get things done. Now, one thing I have noticed about 5 buildings is that people don't often live there long term. I feel like the spirit of the house itself is just always kind of looking for that change. And so you might notice a number 5 home goes up for sale and, you know, gets bought, and then the owners sell it within like a year or two, and it just constantly is going through the market because the spirit of the home itself, it just loves that change. And so this might not be the best number if you are a real estate investor and you're looking for a long-term tenant. Also, but you know what? This would be a really good home if you are in the real estate market, like renting out an Airbnb or something like that. This would be the perfect number for that because it will constantly attract people towards it. If you love traveling and meeting new people, trying new things and adventure in life, if you like a snazzy, exciting life for yourself, this is the perfect home for you. Okay, and if you are like that to the core of your being, I feel like a 5 building is really gonna love you and really want to kind of keep you there, you know? And, you know, people who are really suited for a 5 home might not even spend that much time at home, you know? They're constantly going to one country or the next, or, you know, going out to parties or bars or clubs or, you know, parties. It's just a really exciting, social, creative energy. There's always going to be surprises and changes going on in your life as you live in a 5 home, so it's very exciting. Now, there are challenges that come with every home, and 5 is no exception. So if you live in a 5 home, you may find that it's hard to kind of get some peace and quiet. You know, even if it's just your neighbors blasting music and being super loud all the time, or, you know, the people who you live with are just constantly yelling and laughing and playing music. It's just not really a good space for peace and quiet and alone time and relaxation. It doesn't give that energy at all. I mean, you might be able to get some here and there, but people who live in a 5 home, for example, might go out somewhere else to get their relaxation. You know, they might go sit on a beach or go to a nice relaxing park or the library or something. It might be a good idea for that. You might have a harder time making decisions, really honing in and focusing on one thing while you're living in a 5 home. So that's another, con of living here. Also, if you have any addictions when it comes to food or gambling or sex, would not recommend living in a 5 home at all. That will only bring it out even more. And I even ask you, if you're living in a 5 home, to pay attention to how much you drink, how much you party, how much, you have sex with random people, how much you gamble, risky behavior like that. I would highly recommend just paying attention to that and taking care of that, because the energy of your home is all about it. It loves that excitement. It loves the chaos, So if there's any problem that you're having with that, this might not be the best home for you. So just be mindful of that. If you're somebody who can really stay focused on your goals and be disciplined, you might be able to find a really good balance in a 5 home though. So next, let's talk about a 6 home. I know all about the 6 home because I am living in one. This room that we're in is a 6 room. So the number 6 in a home is really great. It's all about beauty and love and nurturing energies. It's really a sanctuary. And many people who come into a 6 home or building just feel really welcome and taken care of. And it's just really cozy energy. And most 6 homes or buildings have lots of interesting artwork or plants or decor. Maybe it's painted beautifully. Maybe there's just something very aesthetically charming about 6 homes generally. It is the number of kind of like that aesthetic beauty, that love, that nurture, kind of that Venus energy. People who live in a 6 home may be drawn to nurturing others. So this can be like having the urge to have tons of children or tons of pets. I have 3 cats, taking care of lots of houseplants, having a garden, volunteering, things like that. It just brings about this really nurturing energy. And the 6 home itself really wants to maximize, is that a word, maximize? Maximize its space so that it's taking care of all these different people. If there's an empty bedroom, for example, you might find a friend just not come knocking at your door saying they need a place to live, or you might find a random abandoned dog on the street that needs a home, and then you bring it over to your home. It kind of attracts these souls that need taken care of, okay? Which is very sweet. It's a great home to live in if you're a foster parent, looking to adopt, looking to have children, or pets or plants or any of that stuff. So it's great for families, artists, aesthetically artistic people, okay? Great for all of those things. Generally, a 6 home is known to be a great place to live for all of these reasons. However, it does come with a downside, as every house number does, and one of these downsides is that people who live in a 6 home may start to feel kind of overwhelmed with responsibilities, and that's because of all the nurturing energy this home gives off. They feel really personally responsible for every little thing in their life. I'm personally responsible for all of my friendships being taken care of, all these pets, all these plants, all these children. So it can get kind of overwhelming. If you ever seen a stressed out, overly busy mom or dad, chances are they might be living in a 6 house. So it's really important to keep that in mind and to have very strong boundaries when it comes to what you can and can't do. Sometimes you might overcommit yourself to taking care of too many projects or goals or responsibilities at once living in this house. So it's important to just regularly check in and ask yourself if you're taking on too much while living here. Also, a number 6 house gives off wonderful energy, very cozy, very beautiful to be in, very loving. And so sometimes people who live in a 6 home may find themselves just really not wanting to go out. And so it's really important to make sure that you're not isolating while here. So if you ever seen a shut-in, somebody who never leaves their house, they might be living in a 6 house. I know me living here, some nights I'm should I go out? And I'm nah, look at this couch I have. It's so comfy. I'm gonna stay here. Next, we have a 7 house. 7 is a number of personal intellect and spirituality. I'm a life path 7, so I know a lot about this number. And this is a really great place to live if you are a writer, a therapist, a spiritual seeker, or a researcher, a teacher even, any intellectual spiritual thing, anything that involves the third eye and crown chakra, them upper chakras, if you're into that stuff, would be really great here. It's just a quiet retreat that's almost a little bit hidden. So some 7 houses might be hidden behind some trees or like in a little nook in the neighborhood or on a quiet street. There's just this energy of being a little bit more quiet, reserved, and also there's the water element that's attached to it. So it might be near a body of water, there might be a built-in pond on the property, or a lot of like water elements in the feng shui and design of the home. Might even be an aquarium, something like that, or a really good bathtub or shower system. But this is a really great home to just kind of be by yourself and relax and connect and think. It's a great place to live if you enjoy your alone time. I always wanted to live in a 7 home for this reason. So it's great to meditate, research, read, look things up, relax. This would be a great number for a building that does like yoga or Reiki or massage, a spa, anything like that would be great in a 7 home or building. Therapy, anything of that nature. A lab, a research lab. It's just really great for connecting with your own mind and soul, really. The 7 home does have some challenges, as every home does, and some of these challenges include loneliness. So if you're prone to loneliness, if you're feeling lonely, this might be a difficult home to live in. It's just really all about retreating into your own inner world, your own private little sanctuary, really. So if you're kind of lonely, a 7 home would bring out that loneliness. This also is not a good place to host really loud, fun parties. If you invite a bunch of people over to have a party and it kind of turns into a dud because you're living at a 7 home, that might explain why. It's just a great place to, just quietly chat, maybe exchange some intellectual ideas, but not a total party house like number 3 or number 5 home is, which is fine. Not everybody's like into that, I guess. But yeah, so the number 7 has to do with like the higher chakras, the higher energies. And so it's really important to make sure that your roof is taken care of and the upper part of your house is taken care of. If you have any extremely tall trees, make sure that, they're well taken care of. Any dead or diseased branches are taken down, because that might be a problematic area there where you might have some unexpected bad things happen if those are not taken care of, right? So not the best place for social gatherings, can feel a little bit lonely at times. So it's best to kind of make sure that if you live in this home that you're getting out regularly and socializing. So if you have like a really busy, socially active job and social life, this might be the perfect home for you to just come home to and retreat, If you ever met somebody who's just like, my home is my sanctuary, like I don't want anybody getting in there and messing things up, they might be really good for a 7 home. Next we have the number 8 home. This is the number of abundance, prosperity, wealth, passion, career, infinity, all that good stuff. So this is a wonderful home if you are extremely career driven, ambitious, or wanting to expand your wealth, honestly. This home really brings out the fire energy in people. It brings out the drive to succeed. It brings out the drive to expand. It brings out the money. It brings out like just career energies. And so people living in an 8 home might have some promotions, some raises, start their own business. This is a really great number to run a business from. So if you're somebody who works from home, an 8 home is the best for you. It's like really great at doing that and really supporting a career and supporting personal growth in that way. Not even just on a career level, if there's something you're extremely passionate about, like if you're dedicating your life to some type of purpose, this is a great home for that. Like if you're running your own charity, for instance, while you're at this home, you're really going to feel like get all these ideas for growth and how you can expand that charity, how you can broaden your horizons and do more good for the world, or maybe you're really passionate about horses, right? At this property, you might have a lot of ideas for like how you can build a stable on the property, or maybe have your own like horse business by teaching people how to ride or whatever. I don't know anything about horses. I don't know why I use that as an example, but it really brings out that ambition, that passion, new ideas for expansion, also wealth and prosperity. You get the energy that I'm going with here. So if you have any goals of any kind, this is a wonderful, wonderful place to go after those goals, you know? So if you have big health goals, like if you're really into athletics and bodybuilding or just being healthy in general, again, this is a great place to go. You know, this will really pump up your inspiration, your drive to succeed, you know? And I definitely feel that many people who live in an 8 home have this desire to kind of take their passions and interests and goals and implement it into the home. So if you're a bodybuilder, for example, this could be like building your own personal gym. Or if you have your own business and you work from home, this is like building a very luxurious and beautiful home office. If you're really passionate about your career and climbing the corporate ladder, you know, this is a home where you can invite your coworkers and people you work with over and, you know, just really decorate to kind of, you know, help your ambitions grow in a way. It's just really bringing out the fiery, passionate energy in many people. Now, every home comes with a downside. So some downsides you might have living in an 8 home is that passion to grow can become a little bit too much. So it's important to watch over greed in this home, you know, constantly wanting to build something bigger and better and do a new project. People who live in an 8 home, I always feel like they are doing some type of big renovation or have some type of idea to improve their house, or they want a new house, they want a bigger house, they want a better house, they want a better car. You know, it can get easy to, you know, get yourself into that mindset because the number 8 is all about infinite growth and potential. So it's bringing that energy out in you. It's bringing the energy out of I can do better, I can be better, I can grow, I can expand, I can achieve more, I can get more, you know? So that's really interesting. But it's something to pay attention to. I feel that many people who live in an 8 home may spend a lot of their money on the home itself, on renovating it, on making it bigger, better, more beautiful, you know. This is a home that likes to look luxurious, okay? The spirit of your home itself wants you to spend money on it and to make it wonderful, okay? And so that will influence you in some way. This is a place where you will want to have more friends, achieve more accomplishments, you know, go big or go home. So it's important that we balance that passionate, ambitious energy for growth with just enjoying life for what it is, being grateful, and enjoying the people in our lives, okay? Don't lose sight of that and try to avoid being a workaholic or like addicted to your passion in this home. Next is a number 9 home. I grew up in a 9 home, so I know this energy very well. The number 9 in a home really represents universal love. It represents the world. It represents politics, higher learning. It represents welcoming people from all walks of life. And so this is a really great home if you live in a dorm, if you're having like a group living situation, if you are wanting to have people stay over a lot and, you know, be more of your hospitable energy. If you want to run an Airbnb out of your home or, you know, have a guest bedroom set up for people to stay at long term, to take in like foreign exchange students, for example, or foster children, this would be the perfect home for that. There is unconditional love and compassion to be found in a 9 home, and it really does attract people into it, okay? I'll give you an example. I lived in a 9 home, and at one point we were living with like 7 people, 2 dogs, birds, like all, and it was a small house, okay, 3 bedrooms, but like small. So yeah, it just really attracts all walks of life, and the people living in it will be, first off, their intuition will be extremely activated in this home. There's like a spiritual element about this home. It gives off big time like Sagittarius energy. So it's all about just like learning about the world as a whole. You might feel drawn to travel or to go to school or to learn more. There might be a lot of documentaries being played in this house, or books from all different places, maps, people, you know. It's just a really great place for learning and studying and communicating, talking, and having that unconditional love and compassion for other people, and welcoming them into your home and heart. So it's really interesting, and it's great for activating the crown chakra, activating new information coming in, new people coming in. So in that way, it's kind of similar to the 5 home. If you watch the 5 house, it's all about like new people and change and growth, right? The number 9 is similar to that energy, but kind of like more elevated in the sense that welcoming new people, but these people might be scholars or have an interesting backstory, or there's almost like this very intellectual, spiritual overlay on top of the attracting lots of people and energies towards it, you know? Very interesting. But weirdly enough, this home also brings out a lot of introspection and going within and healing and spirituality here. So it's a very spiritual, worldly home, you know? It's really hard to exactly pinpoint the energy of a 9 home because it's so like, yes, attracting all these people and new things to learn, but it's also about like going within and doing that inner healing work. And it's really good for psychics or people on a spiritual journey. You know, if you're like a hippie and you live in like a group home and you're all like talking to each other about your experiences, your travel, and, you know, getting deep with each other, like that's kind of the energy that the 9 home gives off. The number 9 out of the single digits numbers is the last number. So this is all about endings and preparing for a new beginning. This is like the highest evolution, and it kind of represents the latest stages in life. So there's lots of wisdom to be found in a 9 home, and it might be a place where people go right before they start a new chapter in their life. So this could be like a starter home for some people. This could be like a family or childhood home where the children are a lot older and they're about to move out to college. That was really specific. This could be like a dormitory or a temporary place of living before you start a bigger chapter in your life. If you're going to school and you're renting an apartment, and preparing for that next chapter in your life where you start your career as an adult, you might be living in a 9 apartment right now. So it's just really good for endings and new beginnings. It's good for letting go of the past. But some of the challenges that you might come into in this house is that, one, it attracts a lot of people. Okay, so you might live with a lot of people. Okay. If you live on your own, God bless. This is also a bad home for, you know, bringing out that unconditional love and compassion in yourself to the point where you forget to take care of your own well-being, whether that's physically, mentally, financially, emotionally. So it's really important to do that. A lot of empaths actually live in a 9 home, and so they put everybody else's needs just right in the forefront because they can feel the emotions of others. So it's really important to have those boundaries established, and you put yourself and your well-being first because you can't be out here helping everyone around you before taking care of yourself first. So that's something important to remember if you live in a 9 house, because that will really be emphasized here. Your need to help others and help the world is going to be emphasized. Now we are going into the master numbers. So the first master number is 11. This is a powerful home that is just filled with light and intuition and innovation and new beginnings, lots of new beginnings to be found here. The number 11 is the number 1 repeated. So it's all about new energy, fresh energy coming in. So it's really important. I think that a lot of 11 homes actually are very light and airy, so they might get a lot of natural light or just give this airy element. It's important to keep these homes decluttered and, you know, just make sure there's like space to think and breathe and all that good stuff, you know. This is a great home for partnerships as well as independence, okay? Because we have the number 2 coming out in the number 11, because if you add up the 2 ones, it's the number 2, but then we also have the energy of the 1. So this is all about remaining on your independent path, in touch with who you are, in touch with your career, your goals, your ideas, and getting a bunch of intuitive, innovative downloads for that, while also being in touch with your partnerships and how you affect other people and your relationships. So this is a wonderful home for building interpersonal relationships, interdependent relationships, where you're both unique individuals relying off of each other, kind of like a community, a tribe. Everybody has their own special interests, their own special abilities and tasks, and they, you know, rely on each other for those things, but not in a codependent way. You understand? And so this is a great place for, you know, just really having the best relationships, the best marriage, the best romantic connection, whatever that looks like for you, and for honing in on that community feel and, you know, really embracing the new beginnings in your lives together as a unit with whoever's in your life, you know. And this house number really brings out the creative energy in people, and it's just filled to the brim with intuition, okay? You're gonna have a lot of spiritual experiences in this house for sure. A lot of psychic experiences in this house, 100%. So it's really great for that. But with all houses come some challenges, and with a master number house, those challenges might be a little bit more dramatic, because the energy is a bit more dramatic. It's just like more energy. So some of the challenges you might run into for the number 11 house is that you will not do well here if you are in a codependent relationship, okay? This house can bring out the worst in a codependent relationship. So we're talking neglect, abuse, all that bad stuff. This is also not a good house if you are an addict of any kind. It will just really, any type of codependency in your life. It doesn't matter if it's to a person, to a drug, to a behavior. It's going to be maximalized. Why do I keep using that word? That doesn't exist. Maximized in this home. So that is something to be mindful of. Make sure that you are staying true to your unique self, your unique path, doing your own inner healing work, and, letting the home fill you with light and get you back in touch with who you are, your purpose in the world, while also respecting the difference in other people. You're gonna have so many spiritual things happen to you in this home, and these are big life shifts will happen while you're in an 11 home. So if you move into an 11 house, some big life changes might happen to you while you're there. You might enter parenthood, you might have a death happen, you might have a really spiritual experience, a spiritual awakening, you might start your own business. I actually know some people who live in an 11 home, and it was always something, everybody who lived there had something huge happening, good and bad. One person had their own business that they turned into a local empire. Tons of money came forward for them. Another one was just in a very powerful leadership position in their community. Power couple vibes all the way. That's the type of stuff that happens here. You turn into a power couple, Very strong positions. Another one went to school and got all these degrees and is in a really good job, but then another person who lived there suffered with addiction and abusive relationships really badly. And this was to the point where if you lived on that street, you can hear all the fights, all the arguments, the police coming to their house, So that's what I'm saying. This master number energy really brings out the best of the best and the worst of the worst. So it's something that you really have to pay attention to and really make sure that you do not have any codependent tendencies while living in this house. And if you do, make sure you work to heal those things. And I'm sure the energy will serve you totally awesomely in the future if you do that and you take those steps, okay? This is also going to be a problematic house if you're not aligned with your truth. If you're working an accountant job, for example, and your real passion lies in making music and dance and theater, you're going to really struggle in this house. You're going to really feel that you're out of alignment with who you are and your passions, A number 11 house brings out you. It brings out who you're meant to be, and who you're meant to be in a community, in relationships, okay? So definitely live your truth if you're living in this house, and you will be supported and blessed. Next, we have the master number 22 home. This is a very powerful house number to have, and this is all about stability and the natural world, okay? So nature is really prominent in this house. You might have a really great yard, just beautiful nature surrounding it. And a really close family energy here as well. Okay, so if you want to be that type of family where everybody is open about their feelings and honest with each other and close knit, and you go on hikes together and you go swimming together, you indulge in natural activities and your physical body and things like that, this would be a really great home for that. It's all about natural elements and earth, because the number 4 is the number of earth and stability, and that type of down to earth, super stable energy that's great to have in your life. But then the number 2, because the numbers add up to 4, that's why I said the number 4 is involved with this. The number 2 though is all about that interpersonal connections and feelings and connecting with others. So this is a really great home to live in if you have a family that you want to be really close with. The people that you live with there, you're just going to feel so bonded with them most of the time, I would say. Or even if it's just like you and your dog, you're going to have a very special spiritual connection to that dog, you know? Or maybe you're just really close with the neighbors, you know? It just brings out that interpersonal energy and also that stability. So this is a type of home that I feel like most people don't give up. You know, this is a home that they hang on to for decades on end and don't want to give it up. This is also a really good number for building and teaching and inspiring. And so it brings out this leadership position in a lot of people where they are passing down knowledge and wisdom to other people. I can see like a professor living here or a teacher of any kind, really. Like a builder, somebody who has like their own contracting company or something like that. It definitely brings out these leadership positions and career. So people who live in a 22 home might be in a strong position for their career or even just having their own business and being the boss of their own business. It really brings out that energy and just like being the boss, being the leader, being the one in charge, and really passing down directions and wisdom and knowledge and teachings to other people. So it's really wonderful and great for that. Very interesting for that. Now, some of the challenges you might experience in a 22 home, I want to point out that with these master numbers, the challenges might be greater than a regular number because master numbers just mean that all the energy is amplified. So you can achieve a lot in a 22 home, but also you really have to pay attention to the downfalls of it and make sure you don't, you know, get the negative side of living in that home. And the negative side can be, number one, becoming a little bit of a workaholic, becoming too attached to your career or purpose, or the opposite end of the spectrum, you're completely rejecting this leadership position and, you know, trying to shy away from being in an authoritative spot in your life and taking responsibility. So that's just something to be mindful of. Definitely make sure that you are embracing your confidence, your leadership, your autonomy. Living in a number 22 home can also bring about this anxiety to really take care of your family, to take care of yourself, your finances. There's just a sense of pressure here to perform. And so if you fall on, you know, somebody who's receiving the more negative energies of this home, it could be so much pressure. So for example, I want to give you like a picture of the type of family or the type of home that this is, okay? So think of a family where the parents are like leaders in their career, you know? The dad is a professor at a really great university. The mom is high ranking in her career as well, and they are both just really accomplished. They have all these awards on the wall, making tons of money, okay? This is the type of family that is just picturesque, amazing. They all dress well and go on hikes and just, you know, have these lavish vacations and stuff. But then those parents might put a lot of pressure on their children to perform and to graduate with all A's and, you know, go to college. And so there's this sense of pressure that can come with this home, or like maintaining that position, maintaining that wealth. And so it's really important that we kind of avoid that, okay, and be mindful of that if that's something that you experience in this home. You know, take it easy, okay? Calm down and try not to let that pressure get to you, you know? Release that pressure. And I think if you're mindful of it and you just try to avoid it, it might help a lot. This is a really good home to just delegate some tasks to other people and take off some of the responsibilities from yourself. So if you can afford it, you might want to get a cleaning service in there so you can, you know, free up some of your time so you don't have to clean, or like some type of meal service so you don't have to go grocery shopping or whatever it may be. Don't be afraid to get or ask for help if you're feeling overwhelmed with responsibilities living in this home. But overall, this is a fabulous home for stability, for like having a close family unit, and for just achieving highly in your career. It's very earthly in its energy, okay? So it might literally have a lot of wood elements or earthy energy around it, but it also really supports everything physical: finances, your money and how you spend it on physical objects, your physical health, and the home itself. So it's great for that. It's great for those things, you know. So this is where a lot of numerologists might end the master numbers, but I personally believe that if you live in any house number that is repeating, even if you like start reducing it down and it ends up on a repeating number, I think you should keep that repeating number and go by that meaning. So if you live in like a 55 house, for example, that is, in my opinion, a master number. Okay, I think all these repeating numbers are master numbers. I'm not going to go through every single one because that would take forever, but so just kind of apply the same logic. Watch the 11 master number, the 22 master number, and see how you can apply that to your number. If you live in a 55 house, for example, that would have the energy of 5 repeated, obviously, but then also the energy of 1, because if you add 5 and 5, it's 10, and then you reduce it to a single digit, which is 1. So that house would be all about like being an independent person, but also so many parties and socialization and changes going on there, you know, and it's really maximizing that energy. I discovered this because I walked past a house, and I used to walk past this house every single day, and every time I would look at it and I'd be like, there's just an energy about this house. Like, it looks like the perfect house for just having a beautiful garden and crafting witchy brews in it and like painting, and like it just really had an energy about it, and visually it was stunning. Like, it's the most unique house I've possibly ever seen, and every time I walked past it I'm like, oh my god, I would love to live there. And one day I actually saw the house number because I'm into house numerology, and it was a 333 house. And I'm like, well, that explains things, you know? So that's why I personally believe that any repeating number is a master number when it comes to this concept. So if you want to follow that, go ahead. But if you want to follow the traditional model and only use those numbers that we just talked about, go for it. Up to you. But I hope this video came in handy, and I will talk to you all later.